So we were not expect at first we were not expecting, the portfolio building part to take this long, and then we are already running out of time. So like at first you guys chose you wanted to do the front end, some of you guys wanted to do the back end, and some of you guys wanted to do the full stack, right? So what we've come up with will be doing the basics, and then like regardless of whichever field of interest you chose, we'll be teaching all you guys the same thing. Okay, so we taught you the building of like the portfolio. Okay, so now we'll what we'll do is we'll just understand the concept of the backend and full stack with the help of that similar project. Okay, so if I go to this portfolio, here you can see this thing called hear from you, right? Like in the context section. Okay, so today what we'll do is that today we'll try to save the whatever the user enters. We'll try to save that in the backend in the database. Okay, so in order to that, okay, first what you have to do is there are a few steps. Okay, before that there are a few steps. Okay, so we already have the front end part, right? The uh, that is our portfolio. Okay, so we build the portfolio, and then inside this portfolio we also build a simple form where the user will enter their name and also uh, their email. Okay, where the user will enter the name or email, and then we also made one submit button. Okay, but right now these things are only for show, like they don't have any functionality. So we'll try to add functionality. So that is, we'll try to save the whatever the user enters in these two fields. Okay, we'll try to save it in the backend or like in the database. Okay, so for that, okay, so we are all done with this part. Okay, we everyone did this part. Okay, so the next part will be first we need a server. Okay, first we need a server. In our case, we are using the XAMPP server. Okay, and then we have this database. We're using like we're gonna use MySQL. Okay, so how are we gonna do is that we're gonna make use of something called PHP. Okay, I already gave you some brief idea about the PHP. Okay, so we'll be using PHP. Okay, so with the help of PHP, we'll be sending the instructions that we want to execute. Okay, and then PHP. I've told earlier that PHP is a is an interpreter language. It's not even a programming language. It's a scripting language. Okay, so with the help of PHP, we'll be sending scripts. Okay, or the things that we want to execute, and then PHP only gets executed in the server. Okay, so unless you start the server, your PHP script won't get executed. Okay, so you need PHP like any server. For example, in our case, we're inside XAMPP. We are using the Apache server. Okay, so in this server only in the Apache, the PHP gets executed. Okay, and then whatever the PHP script has to relay, that thing is sent to the database, and then whatever for example, let's say I am inserting the data, so it'll first the script will go through PHP. First, like the data will be entered in the form. Okay, this will be the first step. Second, with the help of PHP, it'll be sent to the Apache server where the PHP will be executed. Okay, and after that, after the execution of the PHP script is done, whatever the instruction that were given, it will be sent forward to the SQL, and then it needs to have all the details. Okay, for example, last time I told you, right? For example, if you want to send something from one place to another, you need to know the address, their house number, their contact number, and all of those things. So similarly, even for the databases, they have their own addresses. So you'll get to give the server name, their like server name. You need to give their database name. You need to give the localhost, okay, or like the password, okay, and also you need to give the uh, username, okay. So all these things are, the credentials for the database, okay. So unless you don't have this, you won't be able to connect. Of course you might have, you will be able to execute the script, okay, but let's say the script holds some instructions like, connect to this database and then extract this data from that database, or insert this data from that to that database, okay. So in that case, when you wanna execute instructions where your database is involved, then you will need, it's a must to include these things, include the credentials of the database, okay. So like I've told earlier, we're already done with step one. Okay, we have successfully did the step one. That is, we designed the form. Okay. Of course, we'll do some minor tweaks in that forms in order to able to use PHP in it. Okay, so now the second step will be XAMPP. Okay, second major step will be XAMPP. Okay, and inside the XAMPP, okay, we are using the XAMPP server, right? Is it okay? Anyways, we're using the XAMPP server. So inside the XAMPP server, we have Apache server. Okay, Apache, and also inside the XAMPP you have MySQL. Okay, so our first step will be, okay. For example, for first of all, let me just show what happens when we try to execute PHP file without the without starting the server. Okay, I think I'll just take an example from a previous project. Okay, I think last time we did a project, a simple project where I showed how the things work. Okay, so okay, as you can see, when I try to run a file that has index.php, okay, when I try to run the file without starting the server, this things comes up. Okay, so you need the server in order to execute any kind of PHP. Okay, so if you notice, there is not, there's like, even PHP is not involved here. Okay, like you don't see any PHP codes. Okay, you don't see any PHP code, but the fact that the file was given the name .php, any file that is given the name .php, and then even if that particular file does not have any PHP lines, it needs it needs to start the you need to start the server in order to execute. Okay, so that's how it's done. And then, okay, I forgot to mention one thing, that is, after the all the execution is there, and then the output, okay, what's the output is returned in a plain HTML. Okay, the plain HTML, so that the front end will be able to display the whatever the output is. Yeah. Okay, so you can see that this thing doesn't run. So if I start a XAMPP server, okay, just first you need to start the Apache server, and then the second thing you need to do is you need to start a MySQL. Okay. Okay. Sometimes it'll show some error, but after that, after it stops, retry starting it. Okay, restart it. Okay. So next time it might start successfully. Even if it fails, you can shut down your computer once, and then you can boot up, and then you can try again. Sometimes XAMPP server has this issue with the MySQL. Okay, so now okay, if I run, okay, as you can see, the code is still it's not getting executed. Now why is that? Okay, you did start the XAMPP server, you did start the Apache server, but here you did not mention the about the Apache server. Okay, you started the server, but here in the the file where you are trying to execute, you did not mention the Apache. You did not mention the localhost or the server. Okay, so in order to do that, set localhost. Okay, and then the we are using the PHP project. It's in the PHP project, right? Here you can see the directory. Okay, when we say when in the browser when we say localhost, okay, it targets this folder. Okay, so when we say localhost, it means htdocs. Okay, and then after that, whatever is inside. Okay, after that we have inside what we have is PHP project. So we'll type PHP projects. Okay, and inside PHP projects we have a folder called new folder. So we'll go with a new folder, and inside the new folder we have this something called index.php. Okay, so now you can see the code gets executed. Okay, so that's how you execute the PHP script. Okay? So today what we're gonna learn is okay, so let's close this for now. Okay, okay, so we build this, right? We already have this, right? And then we want to add the we already have this running. Okay, and then we just want to add functionality to this one. Okay, we want to when we enter, like, let's say, okay, and then let's say I give my email. Okay, and then when I click submit, I want the things to be submitted, right? Like I want the enter details to go to the backend and save in the server. Before that, let's just start the admin. Okay. PHP my admin is is where you can control all the data, where you can see all the databases and the tables and everything. Okay, so we already have this table and database, so let's just make use of this. Okay, so I cleared everything. So now we have is what we have is a username, email. We have four fields. The first one is ID, where the serial number will be stored. Okay, and then this is the primary key, and then it auto increments. Okay, so the more you add, the number will go on, like in the ascending order, like 1 2 3. The more you add. Okay, well, second we have the username, where the whatever we store in this name. Okay, the name will be shown. The name will be shown here. Okay, next is email, so whatever we enter in the email section, that email will be shown here. Okay, and the last is the date time. Okay, so for the date time, what we'll store is that whenever I click the submit button, whenever I click the submit button, the exact the exact moment, or like exact the date and the time will be captured and then will be sent to the database. Okay, so for that we'll be using a PHP function. Okay, so the function is named as now. Okay, this is a PHP function. Okay, so we'll be using this PHP function now. Okay, so I'll show that later in the code. Okay? And then don't worry, the video will be provided. Even this video will be provided after the class is over. Maybe like by this evening, the whole video will be provided. So you don't have to worry. If you're if you miss something, or if you don't understand something, you can rewatch and then you can see it for yourself. Okay, so if you go to structure, you can see that ID is of the type integer. Username is of the type worker. Worker means that it can hold alphabets, integers, and all of that. Okay, and even symbols. Email also holds of the type worker, similar to the username. It will hold like combination of characters, alphabets, and numbers, symbols, all of the thing. Okay, and then for the datetime, we're using the type called datetime. Okay, and then the primary key is set to ID. So we're already inside the we in the backend we have a database name called projects. Okay, and inside the projects we have a table name authentication. Okay, so when we try to store the the details whatever the user enters here. We'll try to first store it here, okay, like inside the table, this table. Okay, so okay, now the here is where it starts. Okay, so we have the code, right? We have the front end part. Okay, so what we need to do is that, okay, let's go back here. Okay, so we have the front end part, right? So what we can do is we can take the whole code, okay, just do like copy, Control C or something, okay, and then you can go to your where the server is, the Apache server that is like a localhost, that means htdocs. Okay, just make a new folder. Let's name it portfolio portfolio db, something like that. Okay, and inside it just paste the files. Okay, and then let's try to run. Okay, and then the second step you have to do is, it's in the, it's with the extension .html, right? It's in the with the extension .html, so you need to first change that. Okay, so let's open this in the VS Code. Okay, so you can just okay, so okay, after you bring all your the thing that you build, the front end part, the second thing you need to do is just go back to your, wherever the XAMPP is installed. So in my case, it's, installed in the C drive. Okay, inside the C drive, we have this called XAMPP. Okay, then just direct to htdocs. Okay, so what does htdocs means is that, htdocs means that localhost. Okay, if you go here, if you see this, it means localhost. Okay, so inside the localhost, just make a new folder. We made a folder like portfolio db link. Okay, and then we just pasted the codes here. Okay, so after that, since okay, now if you try to second thing we need to do, since we're going to write like the PHP code inside this HTML, right? So we can't write PHP inside HTML, but we can write HTML inside PHP files. Okay, so for that we need to first rename it. Okay, so just go to rename and then just give it an extension .php. Okay, now that it's done. Okay, so the next thing you can do is just go to the browser, just type localhost. Okay, and then we made a folder name portfolio db link. Okay, so as you can see, our portfolio is live and then it's showing up here. Okay, so but again, if I type anything and if I submit, it's not gonna send or anything. Okay, nothing is happening. No data are sent to the database. Okay, as you can see, it will be empty only. Okay, because we did not even link the database, nor did we write any line of codes. Okay, so for that, okay, so after that, we need to do minor changes. Okay, first we need to do some changes. Okay, let me just close all of this. We don't need it for now. Okay, we need the form section. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is like we need to make some changes in the form section. Okay, so here, like you need to write the action. Okay, so what does action means? Is that it means that whenever I let's say if I click submit. Okay, if I click the submit button, what action should it take? So, and then the action means like through which file. So, okay, there are two ways to execute the script. Okay, one is you can execute the script in the same file itself, or the other thing will be you need to make another, let's say like a connection file. Okay, you can name one like any file name with the extension .php, and then you need to make sure that file holds the all the instruction that is required to connect to the database or send data to the database and all of the things that you want to perform. Okay, so in this case we don't want to make extra file. Okay, we just want to use the same we want to use the same PHP file. Okay, in this file itself I want to in this file itself, I want to include all the instructions, okay? Or else if I, let's say if I go link.php, then I need to make a new file named link.php, okay? And then after that, I will have to write all the instructions here, okay? So I don't want to do that. That's a lengthy process, so I'll just skip this part, okay? I'll just delete this, okay? So what I'll do is I'll just execute the same file in this all the instructions in the same file, okay? So for that, what you have to write is after you write that, there's something called PHP server self, okay? So in order to write that, you need to open the PHP. So in order to open PHP, you just write this thing, okay? And then you give equal to, and then you need to write dollar dollar server, okay? And then inside this, you need to write which file you wanna use. So we wanna use the same file, so we'll just write PHP self, okay? It means that the server, instead of targeting different files, let the server target this same file, okay? That means this file, okay, to execute all the instructions, okay? And after that, we'll just close the page, okay? So this is the first thing you need to do, okay? And after that, you need to write the method. So method is what it method. Okay, last time I told you, right? When you send like any kind of data to another files of the database, there are two ways, right? Get method and post method, right? So in the post method, the data are sent, encrypted, like they're like safely transferred, okay. And in the get method, all the details that you enter in the, all the details that you enter in the field will be displayed in the URL bar, okay, address bar. You can see the details whatever you have entered, okay. So we don't want to do that. We just want to send it privately, okay. So we'll use the method that is post, okay, method post. Okay, so that's it for the from section. Okay, so inside this we'll have see as you can see, the names are empty, right? The names for this input type is empty, and also the name for this input type is empty. Okay, and then in order to work with PHP, the namings are very very important. Okay, so you need to be very careful with the names. Okay, so let's say I gave the name, since it holds the value of your name, so let me just give it a name called name. Okay, since it holds the value name, so I'll just give it name. Okay, and then for the email, I'll just give it email. We'll just keep it simple. Since it holds the value of email, we'll just give the name email, okay? And then for this type text, again, it holds the username, so we'll just give it the name, okay? And for the value submit, we'll just give it like, let's go submit, okay? Oh, name will be submit. Okay, so that's it for this part. So next thing we have to do is we have to write the PHP, okay? So it's a very short script, okay? It's not very lengthy nor is very complex, okay? But before that, we need to do something, okay? So I think last time I already made a file. Let me just check. I think I made a file. Okay. Okay. So last time I made this file, right? And then the use of this file is that, let's say you have multiple PHP. Let's say you have like 10 or 20 of number of PHP files, and then you want each of them to connect to the database, and then so instead of writing this piece of code every time in each file, what you can do is you can just write this code in the one file, name it, okay, and then what we can do is we can just include that file in all the files you want them to be. It's kind of like calling the function, okay. So you can use this piece of code as many times as you want, okay. It's very long, so let's just rename it. Just call it db connection, let's just call it dbcon, okay. And then okay, just save it, okay. So after that, for the PHP part, what we have to do is that we need to write the PHP code, right? So for that, we'll open the PHP. Okay, so in order to PHP tag, you need to do this, and then you close the PHP tag, okay. So here you will write the code. So first you need to include the this file, right? So that the things get connected to the database. Okay, first let's see whether it connects to the database or not. Okay, so let's just try running that file. Okay, localhost, we have portfolio db link. Okay, and inside this we have db con php. Okay, okay, as you can see, front end is connected to the backend successfully. That means it is connected successfully. Okay, so let's say I get some error. Let's say I give server names instead of server name. Okay, and if I try to run it, you can say undefined variable server names. Okay, or let's say if I stop the let's say I stop this server. Okay, I stop the MySQL. Okay, if I try to run it, okay, no connection could be made. No connection could be made because the server is not the MySQL is not active. Okay, so I just start it. Okay, and then if I run it again, you can say front end is connected to the backend successfully. Okay, so we know that this piece of code or this file is working properly. So and then we can make use of this in the other files. Okay, so for now we'll just comment this out. We don't want this to be printed everywhere, or we just only want the error to be printed. If there is some error in the connection. Okay, so going back here, the first step we need to do is we need to include the file. Okay, so for that we have the keyword called include. Okay, and then we'll just write the name of the file. So in this case we're using dbcon.php. Okay, okay. Okay, now what does this mean? Okay, so now what does this mean? It means that okay, the first thing is that it will check the connection, and then like the connection is successfully made with the database. Okay, so the thing is done. Okay, the second step is that if set dollar $post means it means that if or like if I click or whenever I click submit, and then it will it gets notified. Okay, this thing gets notified, or like this thing will get triggered. Okay, so whenever the user clicks submit, or like if the submit button is clicked, then what should the php script needs to do? Okay, so in our case, whenever I click the submit button, I want whatever the details is stored in these two forms, that is in these two fields. Okay, I want all the details to be sent to the database, right? So if submit button is clicked, what do I want to do? Okay, so I want it to first is like I want it to whatever the data it's stored, or like whatever the data is entered in these fields. Okay, in this field, whatever is the data is entered in this field by the user, I want them to first store in a variable. Okay, so we'll make use of a php variable, and then we'll store the data. Okay, so in order to make a php variable, we use the sign dollar, and then we'll give the variable name. So in this case we'll use name. Okay, and then we'll just dollar post. Okay, I'll say why we're using post every time. Okay, and then here we give the name, right? So we need to write it correctly. Okay, name. Okay, and then the second thing is we need to store the email also, right? So for that we'll just make another variable. We'll give the variable name email. Okay, so the name is email itself, so we'll just type, or we can just copy it. We can paste it there. Okay, okay, so why are we using post every time? We're using post is because we send the data through method post, right? So we need to write here post. Okay, so whatever the data came via post method, we're just capturing that. Okay, if we use get, okay, if we use get, we need to write get. Okay, so this thing is clear. So whatever the user entered in the this field, okay, and then the name, the name of this field is name, right? So whatever the values in the name will be stored in this PHP variable called also name, okay? And then whatever the value is stored in the email, okay, the same thing will be stored in the PHP variable name email, okay? So next thing we have to, so first step is done, that is collecting and storing the values in a PHP variable so that we can work with it, okay? So next thing will be, we'll just write a query. We'll start writing the queries, okay? So let's call it query. Okay. We'll just name it email query because what we want to do is that we don't let's say, okay, let's say here you already have a user with a email called abc@gmail.com. Okay, you already have a user with an email abc@gmail.com. Okay, and then you don't want multiple users to to be there with the same email. Okay, so in order to prevent that, first we'll check whether whether the email entered by the user is already present in the database, okay, because we don't want duplicate emails. Okay, so in order to do that, we'll just write the query. Okay, so we'll give like we need to write the query inside this uh, double quotation mark. Okay, so we'll write select. Okay, select means selecting, star means all, select star. Okay, select all from, we have the table authentication. Okay, okay, select star from authentication where email is equal to in this case we have stored in the dollar in the variable email, right? So I'll just give that dollar email. Okay, so what it means is that select star from authentication. Okay, so we're just selecting this table. Okay, select star means select everything from authentication and just check where. Okay, where means where email is equal to the email that the user entered. So let's say here right now nothing exists, right? There is no email, right? So uh there is no email, and then let's say the user entered the email abc@gmail.com, but then the email is not already present in the database. So whenever it will compare, it will show false. Okay, that means it's not present. So during that case, what should I do? Okay, right now we're trying to find out whether it's present or not. Okay, but in case if it's present, then what should it do? Okay, so we wrote the query, we saved it in a variable. Okay, now we'll execute the query. Okay, so in order to execute, we'll make another uh, variable. Okay, and then we'll execute it here. So mysqli so the connection, we made it with the help of this variable. Okay, this connection is stored in the variable connection, so we'll have to write that first. So we'll give the connection. Okay, and then we'll pass the query. That means in our case we save the query in this variable, right? So we'll pass this query ml query. Okay, okay, so now the execution is done, and then it's stored in this thing. Okay, so next thing we have to do is we'll make another, let's call it email count. Okay, and then we'll write the variable name query where the query is stored, right? Okay, so what does it mean? Okay, so let's say first we made a variable, we run the statement or like the thing that we want to execute, that is select star everything from authentication where email is called the email that the user entered. Okay, so next thing what we're doing is we're trying to execute this uh, statement. Okay, so for that we made another variable. Okay, and then we type MySQL query. It's a function. Okay, so it means it will execute. Okay, so first the first parameter is we pass the connection. Okay, so now the connection is made, successfully made. Okay, and after that we're passing the query. We're passing this query. Okay, and then the output of this is stored in this. Okay, so next step is we are making another variable. Okay, here we're MySQL numbers. It means that if there is an output, okay, the output of this will be in the form of zeros or ones, right? It will be in the form of numbers. Okay, so MySQL numbers is that uh, like this will be the, like, let's say this is the first email, okay, second email, third email, so it's in the form of rows, right? So if there is an email, the output will be one. If there is no email, the output will be zero, right? So that's why we're making use of this num rows. Okay, after that what we can do is we can make use of the conditional statements. Okay, so if dollar email count, okay, dollar email count is greater than zero. Okay, so the output from this thing is stored in the email count variable, right, in the forms of zeros and ones, because we are using num rows. Okay, num rows means number of rows. Okay, so if there is already email present, the number of rows will be one. If there is no email address present, the number of rows will be zero. So in our case, and then, like, whatever the, let's say there is no email address in the database, so the value of output of this is zero, right? So the zero is stored in the email. Okay, so here we're checking if the email count is greater than zero. That means if it is present. Okay, so if it is present, then what we can do is we can just use some simple JavaScript. Okay, this is the PHP, and then inside this we can use the script. Okay, so we'll just write the script tag, and then we'll also call the script tag. Okay, okay, inside this script we can write, let's say, email already exists. Okay, so if the email count is greater than zero, that means if there is an already similar email is present in the database, well, what we can do is we can show the user that email already exists. Okay, or else that means if there is the email does not exist, then now we can enter the details of the database. So what we can do is we can make a similar to we can follow the similar steps. Okay, so like first we'll make a variable, we'll write the statement, we'll make the connection, and then we'll write the other steps. Okay, so let's make another variable. We'll just call it let's call it insert query. Okay, since we're going to insert it, the variables names you can give anything. Okay, it's up to you. I'm just giving it so that it's easy to understand. So we'll give insert, okay, into authentication. Okay, okay, so where are we going to insert? So the first thing is name. Okay, the second thing is email. Okay, and then the third is date and time. Okay, we have small. Okay, we're using small. Okay, these are from the database, so we have to use the same thing that is in the database. So inside the database, it's all in small letters. It's everything in small letters, so we'll have to use the small letters. Okay, name, email, and date. The last one is date time. Okay, date time. Okay, and after that, what are its values? Okay, so for the values, we'll do this. Okay, so the first value will be whatever the first value will be the name, right? So whatever the user entered, so it's stored in the variable name, dollar name, right? So it's in the variable name, so we'll just write it here. Okay, so we'll give dollar name. Okay, the next thing is email, so even the email is stored in this variable, so we'll just pass it here. So we'll do the same, dollar email. Okay, and then the last thing is date and time. So their date and time is not entered by the user, but whenever this script gets executed, or whenever the moment the user clicks submit, again we want that particular time to be stored. Okay, so for that we'll just use this function called now. Okay, so without the now function, the data's like the date time, the exact date time will be sent. Okay, the output of this will be sent to this date time field. Okay. Okay, so we made the statement. We have stored it in the statement variable. Okay, now time to execute this statement. Okay, so for that, we'll use the same thing, MySQL query, to make the connection and to execute this. How we did it here, we'll do the same. So let's just make a variable called I query. Let's say I call it because we're inserting I. So insert query. So I query. Okay, and then we'll just type MySQL, and then we'll type the query. Okay, and then inside this we'll first pass the connection, so that is connection, and then the statement is stored in this variable, right? So we'll just pass the variable insert query. Okay, so after that, now we can also write another condition statement. So let's say if, okay, if dollar I query. Okay, this is a simple if statement. It means that if I query, it means that if the query is executed, okay, if this thing is successfully executed, then what we can say is, right, for the if else statement, I already told you, right? In if else statement, the first part is always true, and then the first block is always true, and then after the else thing, the second block is always false, right? So here, if this is true, then what we can do is we can just make it a simple script. Okay, like how we did it here. Let's just copy this one. Okay, okay, and then we'll just write we can just give an alert like okay, like details send successfully. Okay, and then if it fails, then we can do else, and then we can just write fail to send details. Okay, we can do that. Like it'll be the simple one. Okay, okay, now the code is done. This is like a very simple code. Okay, there are lots of complexities. Okay, you need to even keep in mind the securities and everything. Okay, normally you can't even do this. You have to use the binding. Okay, you need to bind the parameters and all of that. But for now we just want to know how it works. Okay, so this thing is done. We'll just save this file. Okay, and then hopefully it works. Okay, so we'll just go here, and then we'll just refresh this, or you can just start a new. Okay, so let's try something, say tree, and then we give the name email as. Okay, let's submit, enter. Let's see if the data are here. Okay, the data is not here. That means something went wrong. Okay, so let's try to debug it. As you can see, the error here, unknown name, column name in fields. Okay, so it's saying that there is a unknown column name. It's username. Okay, it's username, it's not name. So we'll have to change this to username. Okay, so we'll just write username. Okay, now let's just restart it. Okay, now let's try it one more time. Okay, just same details. Okay, now let's see if we're getting any error. Okay, as you can see, the name is here, the email is also here, and the time is here. The exact time. Okay, 9:14. So you can see 9:14, and the date is also here. Okay, with a different email. If you refresh, as you can see, it's getting entered, right? So this is how you do it. Okay, it's a very simple one. There is not that much complexities in this thing. Okay, we need to write this inside the parentheses. Okay, and then we need to close it also. So this is how connect the or like connect and then also send the data to the backend. Okay, so this is for I think for this week you will have to do this one. Okay, you have to complete this one. In order to change your index.html to index.php, just first of all what you need to do is you have saved your portfolio somewhere else, right? So you need to copy all the files. You need to head to like wherever your XAMPP is installed. So in my case it's installed in the C drive. Okay? So inside this C drive you have to go to the XAMPP. Next thing you have to go to htdocs. Just make a new folder. Okay, and let's okay, just make a new folder, name it anything. Okay, then inside the folder just paste all the files, and then let's say just copy the files, go to your XAMPP. Okay, go to your XAMPP htdocs, and then the folder that you made. Okay, just paste it here, or you can even just open this with the code, VS Code. Okay, or you can just go to VS Code. Okay, just go to VS Code. Just go to File, Open Folder. Just head to C, your XAMPP, htdocs, and then the folder that you created, this one. Okay, just select folder. Okay, inside this, just click on this, right click on the file, and then you can see rename. Okay, just click on rename, and then just come to the last part, and instead of HTML, just write PHP. That's it. That's all you have to do. Okay, also one more information. Okay, so since next week is gonna be the last week, okay, so we kept one workshop, okay, and then this workshop is about UI UX designs, okay, and then the attendance is it's very compulsory there, okay. You'll also get certificates for attending the workshop, okay, and for that workshop you don't have to do anything, just you need to attend, and you can learn new things from us. You can also learn from the the guest who is gonna come and who's gonna teach you guys about the UI UX, okay. And uh, yeah, you can follow our Instagram for more updates. Okay, we will be giving their updates. We will also giving some leaks, okay. And uh, the date will be I think by Monday or Tuesday we'll give the dates. Okay, we'll give the dates of to when the workshop is gonna be at. Okay, so stay tuned for that. And by tonight or by tomorrow, we'll do the okay. By tonight or by tomorrow, we'll give the video. Okay, the today's session. Okay, so you guys can uh, watch it, and then you guys can execute the PHP by yourself. Okay, and then if you guys don't understand, okay, I did explain thoroughly in the video, today's video itself, but if you guys still don't understand, then you can just DM me, or you can even DM Sir Molong, any one of us. Okay, we'll help you out. We're always here to help you out. And uh, you know it's not about okay, we all understand that it's like your beginning stage. You're just trying out the coding and all, and you're trying out the the like web development and everything. Some of you have already some experiences, for some of them it's for the first time. So and then so also we'll have the no, we're not gonna only consider like I said, like we've said earlier, that we're gonna choose the top five based on the category wise. Okay, so it's not gonna be like always who has presented the best portfolio or anything like that. Of course, there's gonna be competition in each category. For the first category, let's say the best thing, the portfolio. For the second category, like the attendance, or like third category will be like the interactive, okay, and all of that. Okay, so that thing will be there. And also for the you guys have till like till Monday to complete this thing with the kind of sending the data to the backend. Okay, the thing that we did today. You guys have time till Monday. Okay, it's fine. You can take your time, but you need to complete everything, okay, before the next week ends. Okay, so next week is gonna be the last week. Okay, and then we started the journey with a very good uh, flow, and then we wanna end the journey with the same thing. Okay, so we will appreciate you guys if you guys can join for that workshop, UI UX workshop. Okay, we expect I'm very sure, like 100% of all of you won't be able to attend, but I want most of you guys to attend, and to learn new things about the UI UX. Okay, and all that. Okay, uh, so yeah, the date for the workshop will be updated by next week, and then today's session video will be provided latest by tonight or by tomorrow morning. Okay, so by tomorrow the video will be up, and then the links will be provided to you guys. Okay, and then okay, what do we have here? Heard two legit humans were disturbing a student late night. Oh, you heard nothing from us. We were not even here. Okay, we are just here to teach. So we're not involved in anything that auspicious. Okay, and okay. Lastly, just stay tuned. Okay, follow our social medias and all of those things. You'll be updated. Okay, and then also we're trying to be active in our social medias, and we're doing our best. So we do seek support from all of you. Okay. And then yeah, that's all for today. Okay. Wait. One last information. Yeah. Just wait.
So hello everyone. Next week, probably by next week or by next month, our marketing team will be promoting something on our social media regarding a competition. So if you want to participate there, please go and follow our Instagram and keep yourself updated. Okay. So it's a social media contest, and there will be cash prizes, and also you will get to earn money, pocket money every week from our social media. So we have a new thing coming up that will be done by our marketing team. So maybe they will announce soon in the social media. So please go and follow us. So that's all from my side. I mean, anything? Okay, everyone. Thank you for joining. Well, update on the video. You can leave now.